What's going on, my dudes? Chensley11 here, and welcome back to another episode in the A to Z series, where we are going through every single champion in League of Legends and giving you a basic or beginner's guide on each of them. In today's episode, we're going to be showing you how to play Nasus top for beginners. So we're going to be going through his runes, his build, and most importantly, all of his abilities. So if you enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and even check out my second channel. Link is in the description if you like games other than League of Legends. So Nasus, we're going to go a bit of an overview of Nasus while the enemy team invades, and you'll have a look at that. And we have a little bit of a funny kill on the Garen, which is very, very weird. I haven't seen this in a very long time, of someone just inting essentially. But I hope you enjoy. The gameplay, as always, with these guides isn't super important. It's just there as a background to help me facilitate talking topics. But yeah, you can have a look at this while we're talking about Nasus in general, or his overview. So Nasus, what's he about? What's his basic champion identity? What's he good at? What's he bad at? So Nasus is very simple. He's an extremely easy to understand champion. He's one of the easiest champions. He has the easiest abilities to learn and understand. What makes Nasus challenging is because he's so easy, you need to understand other champions. Because he's quite simple, he can't do much. So to outplay other champions, you need to almost know their champion better than than they do, so you know what their limitations are, so you can beat them. So you can see here we're going to back because we've taken a lot of damage, and the Garen just decides, "No, I'm going to kill you." And obviously, level 1, you can't do that, right? He's just going to die. Thank you for the 300 gold. What was I saying? Yeah, so his early game is incredibly weak. You can see here we get a 300 gold advantage, and we're still going to get absolutely crunched in the early game. And the CSing is quite bad, and I apologize, but it is how Nasus plays. He's weak early, and he gets extremely strong late game. Like, we're talking one of the greatest hyper carries, who's a melee champion in the game late. So the reason why he's such a strong late game carry is because of his Q. We'll go through this in more detail later, but every time you Q a minion with Q, you get stacks on it, and then it becomes stronger and stronger as the game goes on, because it does more damage depending on how many stacks you have. So basically, the way you play Nasus is you want to stay in top or in a side lane for as long as possible and farm and get as many Q stacks as you can. And then once you feel strong and you have a lot of items and levels, then you can kind of rotate in on team fights and clean them all up. And hopefully you get a good example of that this game. It's not the best game example of Nasus, but it is a strong game where we get into the late game, and I can show you just how strong he is, despite, you know, having a bit of a rough early game in terms of farming. So you can have a look at that as well. What I will say, if you're very new to the game, one of the key things to learn on Nasus himself is to try and learn how to CS under tower while getting pressured. It's quite difficult to do, and I mean, if you have a little bit more experience, it gets easier, as I don't give you a good example here, but it does get easier once you figure it out. If you're very new, I can give you a little bit of a tip. See the melee minions, they take 2 tower shots, then you auto attack them once and then they die. Whereas the casters, you need to, if you're low level, you need to auto attack them first, let them take a tower shot, and then auto attack them next to CS them. Now, it depends on each champion, right? More champions with more AD might be able to take out that caster minion after 1 tower shot and then auto attack. Especially if you're using your Q on Nasus, you might be able to do it. But it's all about just, you know, practicing and learning, and you'll figure it out once you get after a bit more experience. This is a bit of a unique game because I already have a long sword, so I have a bit more AD than I normally would. So you see there, it takes 2 tower shots and then we auto attack it. So there, the only way to get that CS was to auto Q. So you see that autoed it first, then let it get tower shot, then I autoed it and again. And then you got to factor in how much damage the minions on your side are doing. So it becomes a little bit difficult, and that's why we only have 5 CS, which is quite bad. But it is what it is. Don't worry, we'll pick it up in a minute. Now, because Nasus is quite simple, we're going to spend a little bit more time on the overview, and I just want to give you another little tip. Because you're going to be getting shoved in a lot, the way you kill the enemy jungler, as the enemy jungler comes in, the way you kill the enemy laner most times, if they're going to be shoving you in like this, is to just be patient, let them get low like the Garen is, because he's playing super hyper aggressive, he's taking a lot of minion aggro and getting tower shots, and I'm, you know, auto attacking when I can, is to just wait for your jungler. So we know our jungler's bot side, so we're going to be quite stranded, and that's why we're a little bit at risk of a dive. That's why I'm trying to stay as healthy as possible. So the Vi can't dive us, as she tried to just a moment ago. But you just want to stay healthy and wait for your jungler. If they're pushed up like this, especially on a champion like Garen, who doesn't have really many escapes other than his flash, we can kill him with a jungle gank very, very easily. So we're just going to be patient, wait for the jungler, let them gank, we get kills. And then once you're stronger than the enemy laner, if you're in lane and you're stronger and you're Nasus, it's literally game over. So we take Garen's flash there, so now pretty much Garen is completely vulnerable to ganks and he will die as soon as my jungler comes. So with that being said, let's go through Nasus's runes. So the runes I'm going to show you, the runes I played during this game, they're a bit more of carry runes. You can also take Grasp of the Undying, which is another rune set that I've taken, which gives you more health, which you might want to take into terrible matchups, maybe like matchups where you feel you want to be a bit more tanky, but Grasp is hard to proc if you're playing against a ranged champion, so beware of that. So maybe against melee only, but then I'd rather fleet footwork anyway, because we'll go through it anyway. So fleet footwork is the main keystone you're going to take, and here's that gank I was telling you about. As soon as the Kiana comes, the Garen's dead, so he just runs into me and we just get a free Q on him and stack it up by 12. So the runes, right? So fleet footwork, attacking and moving builds energy stacks. At 100 stacks, your next attack is energized. Energized attacks heal you for 10 to 100% plus your bonus AD and growing 20% movement speed. So obviously this is good for sustain, and it obviously synergizes with Nasus's passive. So it just gives you more healing. Now this is more counterable if the enemy builds heal cut. But if they don't, you should be fine. Now, we've started a little bit greedy or aggressive. Greedy is the word I'm going to use, not aggressive. By rushing the Ionian boots. We'll go through that in a moment. Which will just give you more CDR. So you can Q stack more, essentially. So after fleet footwork, you go Triumph. So we get extra health. So you can see more life gain. Legend Tenacity. Because Nasus is just a run at you champion, you need tenacity, which gives you, slow resist and CC resist. Last stand, you deal increased damage to champions while you are below 60%, because you're going to be pushed in a lot. You might be low, and you're going for all-in trades. This is going to help you. Second win, after taking damage from a champion, heal 4% of missing health over 10 seconds. Again, more lifesteal, more sustain to stay in lane longer. Basically, you want to stay in lane as long as possible. We don't have teleport on Nasus, so we want to stay in lane as long as we can. And then we're going to get unflinching for some more tenacity and slow resist. So a lot of tenacity, a lot of slow resist, a lot of healing. That's what we need on Nasus. Also, for the little 3 runes at the bottom, CDR and double armor. Change the double armor if you're into an AP matchup like Mordekaiser. So you can see Garen is pressuring our tower. You don't really want to let him get too many plates, because then he's just going to get fed on you. So you want to try and not let the wave get too big like this. Otherwise, they're just going to get fed off tower plates. And if you're playing a champion that roams a lot, like you can see here, Nasus goes missing, we ping missing. Yes, as you can see, the Yasuo goes listens to our pings, pulls out just in time, and the Garen doesn't get any kill. We waste his time. We don't let the Garen kill our Yasuo, which can put him behind. So that's very, very important to make sure you're pinging when your enemy roams, because they're going to get frustrated if you're playing super defensive and roam most of the time. Alright, so let's go through the ability order. So these are the order you take the abilities and what you max first. So you could probably guess, but the first ability you take is Q, because it's your most important ability. Then you want to take E level 2, and then W level 3, and then you want to be maxing your Q first. You want to max your W next, and then you want to be maxing your E last, and then obviously take a point in your ultimate whenever you can. So the reason why you max Q is quite simple. You want to get to level 9 as quickly as possible, which is when your Q is at max level. This is at your strongest, or this is when you're starting to become pretty strong. Also, you get a big power spike when you hit level 6, when you get your ultimate. Before that, before 6, you're literally really, really hard, like weak and useless. Okay, so you need to just farm it out. And you need to understand, in this situation, you see here that the Garen has like a bit of a freeze outside of his tower, and we can't let that happen too often. So we want to just try and bait him into pushing, so he doesn't sit in front of his own tower and absolutely demolish us, which is one of the ways you get absolutely destroyed on Nasus. If you mess up the wave and you're outside their tower, you're going to get destroyed. So yeah, you max your Q first, because it's your biggest source of damage, and you want to be stacking up as quick as possible. So the more damage it has, the easier it is to stack, etc., etc. Again, the Garen pushes up, the Kiana ganks. We're going on top of him. Kian uses the ultimate, and then we can get a kill there. I think we got him with our aura on our ultimate. Unfortunately, we didn't Q stack him, which is unfortunate, but it's okay. Again, wait for your jungler. It's super free if they're going to be overextended, especially a champion like Garen without flash. Alright, so now let's talk about the build. Now, the summoner spell. So, flash is a must. And ghost, I think, is very, very important. You can run teleport, but you're just going to be aware that you're going to have a hard time getting on top of people in team fights. Especially if they got mobility. A lot of champions these days have a lot of mobility. And you're going to struggle in long the lane to catch them. Like we could have probably caught the Garen, but I was playing it a little bit safe earlier. If we just popped Ghost and chased him down. That's the reason why you take Ghost, is to pop it and chase them down once they're outside your tower and you've weakened them. So once you feel like you've got them at a low enough level, you pop Ghost, use your ultimate, you go all in on them with your Ghost, and you can stay on top of them forever. Especially combining with your Wither, which we'll go through in a moment, which is your W. That being said, if you prefer teleport, give it a go. I've used both. Teleport is better for the game and works well if you can get on top of them anyway. But if you can't get on top of them, then Ghost is obviously necessary. So, starting items, you want to obviously take Doran's Shield because you're going to be weak early, so you want a bit of protection. You want to take a potion. Now, early items, as I said, you build Ionian Boots of Lucidity. This will give you more CDR, so you can stack your Q faster. However, it doesn't give you any defense or attack damage. So it'll make you a little bit weaker. I know you get a lot of CDR, but you might be running out of mana if you're spamming all your abilities a lot. You won't run out of mana if you're just queuing, which is what you should be doing. But it is what it is. If you feel like you need a bit more defensive items, but you still want a little bit of CDR, and you have the money, you can get a Kindle Gem, which is part of the build path in the first item you build, which is Divine Sunderer. Divine Sunderer is a fantastic ability because item, because your next attack is enhanced with 12% target max health, physical damage on hit, and if the target champion, if the target is a champion, which obviously it's going to be, so you're going to heal 6% of the target's max health. So again, lifesteal. You can see here, again, we could have popped Ghost, but I didn't think I could catch him. Garen's a bit weird because he has this Q, which he can break out of slows and just run away. So I didn't really want to waste the Ghost, so it is what it is. I should have probably used one by now. I would have had it back. But it is what it is. So yeah, Divine Sunderer, and then you want to go Frozen Heart. Gives you a lot of armor and mana, which is fantastic. Nice, we're just absolutely slaughtering him now. We use our ultimate, which is a bit of a waste, but that's okay. And then after Frozen Heart, you can go Spirit Visage if you're into a lot of magic damage and you need more healing. Or if they have a lot of healing and they have a lot of physical damage, you can go Thornmail before Spirit Visage. Just get the other one, whichever one you didn't get the other one next. And then you can get Gargoyle, Stone Plate last. Or you can get any of the items such as Force of Nature, Dead Man's Plate, Randuin's Omen, Winter's Approach. Depending on the game situation. Just give the items a quick read so you understand what they do, and they might help you decide what your next item is. But basically, those three items I've given you, the Divine Sunderer, the Frozen Heart, and then the 2 defensive chest pieces, will definitely serve you well. So you can see here's where we should be, trying to get out Flash, Ghost, but unfortunately we waste everything and the Garen kills us with ultimate as we're trying to get secure vision. So a little bit unfortunate there to get ganked over the wall, but again, you need to understand what you're up against. Vi, we know, can do that. I was trying to ward over that wall, and then she just jumped over the wall and killed us. So it's a little bit unfortunate. And again, we don't have teleport, so it sucks. But anyway, guys, that's the build. Now we're going to go through Nasus's abilities, which are honestly some of the most simple abilities in the whole game. So if you're a beginner, you're not going to struggle at all to understand what Nasus does. It's just whether you can play him efficiently and get out of the early game into the late game easily is just going to be what you need to practice. That's it. So we're going to start off with this passive, which is called Soul Leader, which is one of the most simple passives in the game. Nasus gains 9 to 19% lifesteal based on level. That's it. So as Nasus gets more and more levels, he just gains more and more lifesteal. So again, lifesteal very, very big on Nasus. So you want to hope that the enemy team doesn't build any healing cart, such as Thornmail or Executioner's Calling, which goes into Mortal Reminder, Chem Tank Purifier, etc., etc. Look up all the items that give Grievous Wounds. Merlinomicon is the mage item. So if they don't have those, you're golden. If they do, you need to make sure you understand who has them and what they do and try to avoid it as much as you can. Most of the time, though, you can heal through the Grievous Wounds because you have that much healing. Pretty much your whole kit is healing and lifesteal, right? So you can heal through it, which is why you don't need to build in lifesteal because you get a lot of it through your kit. So that's the passive. Every single time you hit someone with anything, you're just getting lifesteal. So you can see here, we take the tower out, which is good, which is what Nasus wants to do. We put the E down and we start trading. We use our ultimate as he runs away, which is quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're just going to take all this CS. Enemy team gets a dragon while we have pressure top, which is fantastic. You can see here, our role is, it's a little bit boring if you're new to the game. Like, you just literally stay in the side waves and farm up for the late game. And try not to die. You can see here when we want to disengage, we wither, we run, and you can't really chase us. Wither is your W. We'll go through that in a moment. So next, we're going to go through his Q, which is, again, really, really simple. All it is called Siphoning Strike. It says, Nasus's next basic attack within 10 seconds has an uncancelable wind-up, gains 25 bonus range, and deals bonus physical damage. So basically, you push your Q, and then your next auto attack becomes empowered, and your axe is glowing. This is the most important ability to understand how to use. It's quite simple. You just use it, and then your next auto attack does more damage. However, if Siphoning Strike kills the target, Nasus permanently gains 3 stacks. If it's a champion, it's increased to 12. Also, if it's a large minion, such as a cannon, or large monster, such as like the Gromp or the buffs, right? Or the big chicken, I believe, as well, is considered a large monster. The big wolf as well. So if you kill those with your Q, you get 12 stacks. So it's quite important to stack up your Q and kill him. So you can see here, this is the example. I pop Ghost, and we're chasing the Garen down. He knows he's finished. He's in the wave. I use my ultimate. Kiana's here anyway. She comes in and grabs the kill, which is fine. We had him probably on our own because he was screwed. We used our Ghost. There was no way he was catching us. And you see Ghost just ran out now. So you can see it's lasts quite a while, so you can chase for a long time, especially if they're out of position like that. So yeah, basically the Q, all you want to be doing, as you can see now into the game, you want to be just only queuing minions just to stack it up as most as you can. You can see the Q stacks are above your health bar. Down below on your hotbar, you can see we've got 252 Q stacks. So basically the way it works is at level 9, which is when your Q is maxed, you can see here we just wither the Callista and then we just start queuing her. But we're going to overextend, again, get ganked by the jungler. There's no dragon up or anything for my team to do, so it's not a good idea to be doing stuff like that. If there's a dragon up, we know we're safe because if the enemy team send 2 or 3 to get us, then we get a free dragon. But if it's like that where there's nothing on the map, then we just die for free for no reason. So that was bad for myself. Just trying to absolutely clap the Callista. So yeah, it gets 110 base damage at level 9 when it's fully maxed. And then you're gaining is essentially any single stack you have is added on top. So 110 plus 250 is 362 exactly damage per Q, which isn't amazing at the moment. But remember, that's on a low cooldown. You can be doing that quite often. But once it gets higher and higher later in the game, when that Q is stacked up even more, you can imagine how much damage it's going to be doing. Plus all your on hits from your items as well. It's not going to be doing just that raw damage. Okay, next we're going to be going through Nasus's W, which is called Wither. Now, Wither is quite a simple ability again. It's your W. Basically, Nasus ages the enemy target for 5 seconds. And what does that mean when he ages them? It just means he slows them by 35% and crippling them by half that amount. So cripple, remember I went through this in an earlier video. Cripple just means they have lower attack speed. So you're just slowing them down and removing some of their attack speed. Over 5 seconds, okay? And then the effect actually increases over time. So at level 1, the Wither starts off at 35%, and then, or the slow does, and then it increases up to 47%. And then at max rank, the Wither is at 95% slow. So you can see why we maxed that second, because the 95% slow is really, really important for Nasus to get on top of the target. Because if he can't get on top of the target, he can't deal his damage, which is why you want to max your Wither second. So again, very, very simple ability. Nothing too complicated. Next, we're going to go through his E, which is called Spirit Fire. Now, Spirit Fire, again, very, very simple ability. Nasus unleashes a spirit at a target location, granting sight at the center for 2.5 seconds. And then after a short delay, it'll start to tick magic damage to enemies within. Now, the magic damage, unless you're building a full AP, which is a bit of a weird build on Nasus, which I have seen, but it's just, you know, it's a little bit funny. It's not really effective. The most important thing about the E isn't the actual damage. It's about the armor reduction. So the fire then remains for 5 seconds, dealing magic damage each second to enemies within, inflicting them with armor reduction, lingering for 1 second. So if they're within that zone, they're taking a massive amount of armor reduction. So that helps you do more damage with your Q, which is what your true damage is coming out of, and your auto attacks, right? So at max rank, it's 45%. At level 1, which is where it's going to be most of the game, it's at 25% armor reduction, which is fantastic. So we're cutting their armor by a quarter, which is really, really good, which means you're basically getting a free Lord Dominic's Regard just on your ability if you use your E on top of them. So the basic trading pattern, obviously, with Nasus is to slow them, chase them down, use your E on top of them, and try and follow up with auto Qs, auto Q, and Q off cooldown as much as you can. Very, very simple abilities, very, very simple playstyle. Farm up, get to the late game. You can see here the Vire starts to fight with me, so we put the thing down. You can see the armor reduction symbol, the little shield with the crack in it. That means she's taking armor reduction. You can see we're withering off cooldown. We should use our E, which we haven't yet, which is a bit of a mistake. There it is there. We used it earlier when we were trading. But you want to use that off cooldown as well, so the armor reduction is always being applied, so you can get more damage off with your auto attacks and your Qs. You can see here now we're getting into the stage where the enemy team, unless they send more than one, they can't really 1v1 us, which is why you want to be kind of staying in side lanes for the most part, but you want to be joining team fights when you can, you know, rotate around. If there was a team fight going in mid lane, we could rotate around the backside and clean up the fight with our Qs and ultimate. So you can see here we absolutely demolish towers as well. So we're getting a lot of pressure, getting a lot of gold, getting a lot of farm on the side lanes, and winning the game that way. Slowly, slowly. You can win games on Nasus by being behind, by simply just split pushing, taking towers for your team, getting them the gold, and then you can win the game through pressure. Alright, last but not least, we're going to be going through Nasus's ultimate, which is called Fury of the Sands. So Fury of the Sands, again, is a quite simple ability. Basically, Nasus empowers himself for 15 seconds, so he gets really big. He gains bonus health, bonus armor, bonus magic resist, and he gets 50 more bonus range on his attacks. Okay, so you basically become just stronger for 15 seconds when you pop it. The cooldown isn't too long late game. It is long at the start, so you want to be using that when it's a good idea. When you think you're going to be in a long trade, here's a good idea. Just use it straight away. Use the wither, and we slow him down. We flash. The flash was unnecessary because we used the wither. We just want to stay within range so we can keep withering him, and then we do. Maybe the flash was necessary. Actually, I might not have been able to get that wither off if I didn't flash, so maybe it was required, and then we can chase him down with the wither. You can see Garen is a little bit unusual because of his Q. He can kind of get away from us, which is why Ghost would be important. But you can see there when I use my ultimate, you just gain more stats. You get more damage, you get more armor and magic resist. The reason how you get more, so you get more tank stats. The reason how you get more damage is because while Nasus is empowered, he creates an order around him that deals magic damage. So there's a little ring around you that is ticking everyone for magic damage. But your Siphoning Strike cooldown is half, which is your Q. So your Q cooldown is halved, which means you can Q twice as more often. So you can do twice as much damage. So that's why when he's using his ultimate, you can Q very, very fast off cooldown, almost faster than you can auto attack. Auto attack cancel, right? Because his Q's off cooldown that much. So basically, you want to be using that when you're in a bit of a fight. The cooldown you see here is not that long. You can see there's a lot of them here. We want to pop our ultimate straight away so we can get more health, so we can lifesteal longer, but we get CC'd and we just die instantly. So again, we should have popped our ultimate, focused on target, start lifestealing. I probably would have died anyway. There's 4 of them there. Again, no objectives on the map. A little bit of a silly death for myself. Not the best game, but hopefully a good game to show you just how strong Nasus can be late, / how weak he is early. So anyway, guys, that's literally all of Nasus's abilities. So now we're going to focus more on the gameplay and have a look what's going on. However, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I understand that this isn't the greatest game of Nasus, but I hope you enjoy nonetheless. Hopefully you've learnt a little bit about some of his abilities. And if you're new to the game, I hope you can give him a try and get to the late game and feel that power, because it is quite fun when you get strong. It isn't fun when you're very weak early, which is something I will say. So you can see here running back to top to get some more farm and more stacks on our Q so we can do more damage. So we're up to 378 stacks. The more stacks, the better. So you want to try and get as many as you can. MF turns around, gets the thing off. So we can use our Ghost and we use Wither. So Seraphine literally has no way to escape. You can see how fast we are. And one Q almost half health there. So at this point, I just wait for my Q to come off to stack her up. Because remember, if you Q the enemies, you can get 12 stacks of your Q. So you can see here, stacking up more. Just keep stacking as much as you can. Just so in the later game fights, you do more damage. Okay, that's basically how you want to play Nasus. Quick rundown through all of his abilities one more time, just so if you've forgotten, you know what's going on. So the passive is just lifesteal, very, very simple. The Q is the auto attack reset that gives you the axe hit. It stacks up every time you get a kill with it on minions and champions. More on champions, you get 3 per minion, 12 on the large minions, 12 on champions, 12 on monsters. The W is the Wither, which you place on them and they get aged and they run slowly. They get slowed and they attack slower. The E is the big zone you put down. You put it down, they take magic damage per second and they also get armor reduction. And then the ultimate, you use it, you become big, you get more health, you get more resistances, and you get your Q cooldown is halved. And you get more attack range. So you can see here there was a bit of a fight mid. I think there was a dragon or something up, and then we can just pressure the tower, and you can see how much Nasus absolutely destroys the tower with his Q. You see that big hit of damage, bang, that's his Q. 733 damage there on that Q. 733 damage on that Q. So you can see Nasus can absolutely destroy bases. So basically, you want to be split pushing to get objectives, and then joining team fights when you can. You're going to be more useful if you split push and get stuff done, rather than just trying to sit mid and ARAM and do random stuff and not farming and not getting any pressure, because you're not super strong at team fighting if you're frontlining and they're just going to CC you down, because you can't really get to anyone. Okay, so Kalista uses her ultimate. She sends the Vi back in. We should use our ultimate here. We do. Again, there's 3 here, so we're going to kind of run away. Our team's quite far away. We're trying to attack as much as we can to lifesteal, but the Kalista uses her, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. She pulls all of her spears outside of me, and we explode. So unfortunately, again, we die. We did get the inhib, so it isn't all that bad. But again, we're being a little bit greedy. We should just back off when our team hasn't got any pressure. So if you look at that death, you look where my team is, and you say that's a mistake, because my team wasn't in any position to capitalize on the pressure I've received. If the whole team comes to me and they're on the bottom tower, they could get a tower or they could get a dragon. So you want to know when you should be split pushing, when you should pull out and just farm. Like farm the jungle or something like that. So a little bit of a mistake from me. But again, it is what it is. Now, something I will say with wards. Wards are important on Nasus because you don't want to get caught out very often. You can go a blue trinket, which is the ward that lets you ward far away, which will help with split pushing, because you can kind of ward the middle of their jungle while you're split pushing to see if anyone's coming for you, so you can get out. Also, control wards are super important to control bushes and stuff like that. I don't think I've bought too many of this game, but it is what it is. It is pretty good that the game, we're not playing great, so the game can go to late game, so you can see just how strong you can get. But it is what it is. Here, I should probably be pushing bot, but our team is like fighting, so I'm thinking, maybe I can go help them quickly before I run bot, because they are all dying. But you can see here, they kind of die. So if I was bot lane, I could have been maybe on the tower by now. Maybe put some pressure, make them think twice about pushing. So we're going to run there now and match the Garen. So basically, that's it, guys. If you have any questions about Nasus or any comments you want to leave down below, feel free to. Any questions, I'll get to them basically as soon as I can. I reply to all the comments in the comment section, and I want to thank you for the support that we've been receiving on the channel lately. It's been fantastic. Yeah, so remember to stack up on the Gromp. You get 12 stacks, which is what I did. And now we're up against the Garen, equal level, but we're obviously a lot stronger than him right now because of the champion we're playing. He does hit a level, actually, and then you can see he just queues and runs away. So we use our Ghost. Now there's like, they're on Baron, so I want to try and pressure. We use the Wither to catch him. Auto Q, auto E to get the armor reduction, Q, auto, Wither's back up, we use Wither. We flash on top, we auto Q, auto, W, and then we Q to finish him off. So you can see just how your trace potential is on Nasus. It's quite insane. But, however, because it is the Garen and he can get away from us, we had to use our flash. So it's a little bit tragic, but we ended up getting him in the end, and we get 1 Baron buff off the enemy. And we provide a bit of pressure so we can potentially get something back for that Baron. So here, again, one of the large Krugs is another one of those monsters that gives you 12 stacks. So we withered the Callista, and we're going to back off because they got 2 ADCs. I think they had another ADC mid they can actually absolutely shred us. So you can see here's the team fight. The Yasuo is going in. Yasuo's had a really, really good game this game, so he's going to carry us. It's a really good MF ult. I think it's almost going to get the Twitch. So you can see here we can't really do anything because we're a melee champ. We can't get in on top of them, so we're going to try and be patient, wait for the wave. There's no wave here, so I'm just going to run back and grab it, which is kind of bad. We want a wave so we can dive, but it is what it is. And the Callista picks up the Yasuo, which is quite unfortunate. But the Dragon is up, so I'm going to just try and distract them, put pressure on them while my team takes Dragon. The Callista's out of position, so we just walk up and just absolutely smack it with our Q, and we get a 650 shutdown. Open up with Wither so she can't get away, and then just auto attack Q, auto Q, auto Q. So yeah, Nasus's Q is an auto attack reset. I don't know if I've mentioned that earlier, but basically what that means is if you auto attack and then Q, it cancels the auto attack, if that makes sense. Auto attack animation. So you don't go auto attack, you go auto attack Q, right? So you do more damage quicker. So that's what you want to be doing as well. Again, waiting for the wave so we can get under tower and put pressure. The Misfortune's backing off, but we have a good amount of pressure so we can do this. And we're going to concentrate on the tower. We use our ultimate. Kiana gets a nice ultimate off, and we get a kill once they all die. So this point is where Nasus is strong. We finally reached the point. He's probably strong levels, 16 is when he's super, super strong when he gets 3 points of his ultimate. Basically, he gets strong once you get a lot of stacks on your Q. And the more kills you get, the quicker you get your items, the quicker he gets stronger as well. If you're split pushing a lot, like in this game, you will get your late game power spike quicker. Callista has to use the... we're taking a lot of tower shots here. Absolutely no idea what I was doing. Terrible. The more you split push, the more XP and gold you get. So the quicker you get to this point, where you become strong. So you want to keep an eye. You want to maintain your farm by staying in the side waves, so you can get strong late. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say with Nasus. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. It wasn't amazing. But it is what it is. That's not the point of these videos. Hopefully we can just teach you a few things about the champion. Pick up some tips so you know what to do when you play him in your game. So at this point, what do we want to be doing? So at this point, you want to be kind of like split pushing away from objectives to draw pressure away from it. That works better if you have teleport, just in case you need to teleport into the team fight itself. However, if the team fight goes well, and you're already split pushing, you can take so much. You can take so many resources off the enemy. You can take their whole base almost. So that's why I love split pushing on Nasus. Also, if later on when you're near their base and they're like, how do I explain this? If your team's on their last tower before their base, and you're on their last tower before the base, it's easier for you to rotate towards them. I don't know what just came up on my watch. I apologize. Because it's not too far away, so that's how you get onto them. You see here we use our Ghost, put the Wither down. We want to be focusing the Twitch, which is why I ignore the Vi. We can just go kill the Twitch instantly. So squishies are your absolute prey on Nasus. You can see we withered the Vi, but she still was able to flash Q on top of our jungler, and then we get another auto attack, another Q, and we get another shutdown. You can see here just how much damage the Qs do. So this is when Nasus is really strong. If the enemy team can't get away from you, they literally all die. Nasus is fantastic at picking off people one at a time. So that's why split pushing is good, because you should be only fighting one at a time. If they send more, then hopefully your team can get some objectives elsewhere. It works out perfectly if we get a Dragon Soul, so we can just be even more stronger late game. So Nasus, what do I think? I think he's a really fun champion to play. If you get to this stage where you're late and you're powerful. If you don't get to this point and you're really, really far behind because you were trying to do some early stuff and you died too much, he can feel really, really weak. Essentially, if you don't get your Q stacked up enough, you don't do much damage, and you're not as tanky as other tanks. You're more of a bruiser rather than a full tank. You build a lot of resistances because you want to be going a flash in to try and steal everything, but unfortunately we get nothing. They died really, really fast. And then we go on to the Vi, and we're going to be auto-attacking here and using our Q. You can just see how much damage we're going to be doing. You can get even stronger than this on Nasus. Basically, he's one of these champions that stacks infinitely. If you have 30,000 Q stacks, which is almost impossible to get, then it probably is impossible to get. I'm just exaggerating. The more damage he does, right? So he scales infinitely. So every single game you play, you can get better and better stacks and get even stronger later. So that's what makes Nasus fun. There's always that thing you're trying to hit, right? So anyway, guys, that's my spiel about Nasus. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below if you have anything to say or you have any questions. Hit the like button if you did and subscribe for more guides. And thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.